I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, and welcome back to our creative videos. And today we're going to do a nice little tote bag. It's going to come in a package like so. It's a bag panel. And
oh, can you hold it back up?
I'm sorry, there you go.
Nice, thank you.
All right, it's going to have little kitties on it. And I'm sorry that we don't have a dog one. I know there's, you're going to ask, and the answer is probably. All right, and there you go. There's some really cute little cats on here. I see my personality in some of these. What you need to do is you're going to need to have fusible fleece, and you need to cut the fusible fleece for the outside of the bag. You are also going to cut the fusible fleece for doing the straps. You're going to fuse those on, and you're going to stitch all the way around the outside. Now, if you wanted to do extra quilting, you would want to do that before you stitch them together.
Gotcha.
You're going to stitch all the way around the outside, okay? And then you're going to basically do the same thing for the lining. Technically, they call this a reversible tote, but it's what would be on the inside. This one should not have fusible fleece. I think if you do 2 layers of fusible fleece for the inside, the outside would be a bit much. You're going to stitch, again, all the way around. I was using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but remember, you got to leave an opening at the bottom. If you don't, it's going to be really interesting trying to turn it right side out. All right, so you're going to line this up. You're going to do your 1/4 inch seam. All right. So when we line it up, going to go around the corners. And remember, when we get to the bottom, you will have to leave an opening. Now, again, stop where you want to leave an opening, and I would suggest to you sewing to the edge. That'll make it easier and a more defined turn in. All right, and you're going to.
Does it have markings on there as to where to leave it open?
I did not see any.
So how long or how wide are you leaving your opening?
About 3 inches was what they recommend.
Okay.
About a 3 inch, and to me that looks good. As long as you leave an opening, I don't really think it's going to matter. All right, so we're going to now stitch around, go up the other side. And by all means, you could pin this, but it's really not shifting to that. All right. So we have, again, it's sewn, but remember to leave the opening. Now, for your straps, again, the straps are going to be fused, and then you want to fold them. So you're going to press it in half, and then that crease line you're going to fold in, and then you're going to fold in and fold it again. So think of it as like bias tape. So you're going to go, you can give it a press. I'm just going to clip it, and this is where I would use my clips. I think straight pins may bend a little bit because it's quite thick. So again, fold it, and then fold it in half again. Having the fusible fleece in the straps will make it nice and cushy. All right, same thing. Fold, fold in half, and then fold one more time. And again, throw a couple of pins or clips in. Now they want you to stitch 1/8 of an inch. So I have a 1/4 inch foot on. If I line up the outside edge of the project to the outside edge, that's 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be lining it up along the inside edge of the toe. And if I line it up on the inside edge of the toe, it is close enough to 1/8 of an inch for me. Now, you also want to lengthen out your stitch length. So I'm about at 3.5. If you try to do it at 2.5, remember you're going through quite a thickness. Your 2.5 is going to look really short. And we're going to go all the way along.
And you always sew the open end first.
Yeah, sew the side that has the possibility of moving. Do that first. So again, we are stitching down. And we're going to come to the end, and we want to flip it, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I have stitched the sides of both of them, so you can see how the handle is nice and thick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this point, they do have a little mark of where they want you to be, and I'm just seeing if they, it's going to be about 2 inches in. So we're going to take our handles, and it's going to be 2 inches in. So that's where you want to do your mark. And if you're really concerned with, is it 2 inches in? Yeah, there you go. 2 inches.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Love it when a plan comes together, yes. All right, so at this point, we're gonna clip. And you'll notice there is another mark where they want you to put this in for the handle. And I'm just gonna measure. Yep, that looks good. Okay, now do yourself a favor, check to make sure you haven't twisted.
Mm-hmm.
So how I do it very easily, put my finger out, inside edge as opposed to the outside edge. Inside edge, I should put my finger all the way around, and it shouldn't twist.
Should be on the inside when you get to
Should
the
be
other
on the
side.
inside when you get to the other side. Now, they also suggest that if you are not particularly tall, you might want to check the length of the straps at this point. See whether it's going to do what you want. I'm not shortening anything. For me, the longer the straps, the better. So I'm just going to leave it. And again,
Sometimes it depends on how you use the bag.
Yeah.
Do you throw it over your shoulders? You need a little bit longer handle. But if you're going to hold it down like a tote bag, then you would prefer not to have the bag dragging the floor. So you might shorten the handles in that case.
You might shorten the handles. You got it. All right. So I'm going to take. Now, I want to do the same thing to the other side. So when I line it up, the biggest thing for me at this point is just match the other side. You know, it's one of those things you can get hung up on a number, But as long as, to me, it's matching the other side, you should be good. Your pattern instructions will be listed on the panel, so you should be good. And they will give you the diagrams that you need for, you know, lining everything up. Mm-hmm. So you shouldn't have any issue. And then they will give you verbiage as well. All right, so once I have it lined up, I'm going to again stitch the other side on. And I'm doing it at like 1/8 of an inch when I'm actually attaching my handles. Remember, this is going to be stitched several times because we have to put the inner and the outer together and all that. So I'm just doing it so I just don't want my previous rows of stitching to show. All right, so we have our handles.
Cute.
Now sewn on. Now you're going to take your lining. You'll notice I did not turn this one right side out because what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to put the outside of the bag, the one that has the fusing agent, the fusible fleece, and we're going to pop that in. So we have technically right sides together. You are going to line up your sides. So line up your side seams. Make sure your handles are down inside. You don't want to have your handles showing because if they are showing when you're sewing the seam, you will not be able to use them when you're done.
They will be inside your bag.
They will be inside your bag. Ask me how I know this. I had done that on an occasion. You're like, really? I can't believe I did that. So handles should be in between the two. And now we're just going to go and we're going to pin this, or in my case, clip it. Just going to throw a couple of clips in so everything obeys itself. All right. Now, whenever I'm doing a bag, I like to utilize the open arm on my machine because that way it's easier to sew. I'm going to start wherever. Again, we're going to be doing our 1/4 inch seam. And I looked really close in the instructions. I didn't see you should use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It wasn't really listed there, so we're doing a 1/4 inch seam. 3/8 of an inch.
Stay consistent all the way through.
Whatever you do. Yep. And we're just going to go all the way through. So remember, this is the second time our handle is stitched. So we've sewn it the one time, and then we're sewing it again. And then we're going to sew it one more time because it's going to be top stitched. So I would say at this point, Unless you're planning on putting lead weights in your bag, it should be, the handles should be well done. Now remember, I'm also at my little longer length of stitch because I'm going through quite a thickness. And if you think you need to, this would be a good time to use your walking foot as well, or even feed foot. That way it'll help feed everything through. But if you utilize your open arm, you're gonna find it's way easier. And remember, sewing's supposed to be fun. All right, so we have everything stitched. So we have stitched all the way around, leaving no holes. All the way around. This is where you're gonna thank yourself. Okay, you wanna make sure you leave enough that you can pull it out. So, you know, not this little doohickey. You wanna leave at least 3 inches. It's one of those things, if you start doing really tiny holes, you're just not gonna have as much success. And nothing is worse than when you are trying to flip things and you hear rip, rip, rip because the fabric is ripping. Okay, now, because we did those little tuck-ins, it's gonna make it easier when we do our folding this in. Now, if you are going to use this as a reversible bag, a little springy, you might want to consider closing the opening, sorry, by hand.
By hand. Because it would truly be invisible.
Because it would truly be invisible. I'm just going to sew right near the edge because I think the outside is going to be, for me, the blocks. But again, you know, do what you wish.
Did you explain that these are Instagram cats?
I did not.
That the artist was doing like facial expressions that people did in Instagram, but in cats.
But in cats. There you go. I just thought they were cute.
They are adorable.
All right, so I'm going to sew near. Remember, if I was truly worried about it, I could also sew with white thread or gray thread, so it didn't show so much. But realistically, I have so many books that I put in this bag.
Nobody's going to see the bottom hole.
Nobody's going to see the bottom. All right. So we have done that section. Sorry, I lost where I put my scissors. I'm sure nobody has ever done that in their life. All right, so now we're going to push this in, and now we're going to top stitch along the top. Then they want you to do it at like 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to do it at 1/4 inch all the way around. So we're going to roll it. Now, if at this point you want to press this, go for it. I'm just going to kind of finger press it and roll it a little bit. And remember to do it with steam.
For your finger pressing.
Yeah, for my finger pressing. All right. So we're just going to roll it. And we're going to top stitch around. And your bag is done. So it really is not a time consuming. It's a nice little gift.
On the back panel it says it's an easy peasy reversible bag.
Yep. Easy peasy.
So
they weren't lying.
Truth in advertising, right?
Truth in advertising. So again, I'm just rolling it a little bit. I was trying to find my favorite kitty, and I must admit, I think it's that one. There's some ones that are on here that, you know, drinking, has a headband, hat. So
Top hat.
Top hat. They're really cute. All right. So again, we're going to go. And I'm sewing with the lining or the non-fusible on the inside, fusible on the out. And I'm going to lengthen out my stitch again, back to about 3. And we're just going to sew all the way along. Try to remember, you don't want to sew your handle down. And this is the 3rd time it's being sewn. So I would say that they're anchored pretty well. So again, we're going to stitch all the way around. Again, around the top, they recommended about 1/4 inch seam. And we are almost done. Get a little back stitch. And we are good to go. And look at that. As they said, easy peasy little bag. All right. Hope you had a good time with me, and we'll see you next time.